Hi there, I'm Whitney Smith, and we are going through the Ontario Security Guard training syllabus, and we are in Section 6 Emergency Response Preparation. So we're just going through the Ontario website, which this is March 2026. So as of March 2026, this is the information that's here. The ministry is going under right now a review for modernization and an update. So this information could look different soon, but as of right now, we're going to go through what to expect from Section 6 of the Ontario Security Guard training course. So here's the overview. This is going to be a 4-hour in class. Security guards are expected to respond to emergency situations and to minimize the impact caused at a work site. They may be required to perform a variety of duties, including emergency procedures, and must understand the importance of scene management. Your trainer is going to discuss the potential roles of a security guard during an emergency situation and how to effectively complete these tasks. So it's going to go through these minimum requirements here. So identify the following criteria of a potential emergency. So your risk factors: fire emergencies, bomb emergencies, weapon emergencies, suspicious packages, and explosive devices. And it's going to describe the following response procedures, explain fire emergency response procedures, explain bomb emergency response procedures, explain weapon emergency response procedures, explain suspicious package emergency response procedures, and explosive device response procedures. So that's going to be very important. Again, depending on where you're living, where you're residing. If you're in a rural area, some of this is probably something you're never going to see happen. Maybe not a fire. Obviously, fires can happen anywhere, but bombs and weapons, that maybe doesn't happen as typically in a rural area as it might in an urban. So where you live really depends on some of the situations you might see. So this is going to be important no matter what. And it's also going to be important to understand the site that you work on, what the expectation is for you, what to do in an emergency, right? Because you have this course, which is going to detail the things that are expected of you as a licensed professional, but then that might also look different with the employer. So you need to know the standard operating procedures where you work and what's expected of you on a site to make sure that you follow, that site and the requirements, especially because they might be set out for insurance purposes, whatever that might be. So you definitely need to understand that. And then we're going to talk about emergency situations. So security guards may encounter emergency situations at a work site. They need to accurately identify the risks associated with fire threats, bomb threats, weapon emergencies, suspicious packages, and explosive devices, and learn how to respond appropriately. The course is going to outline the different risk factors a security guard must be familiar with and how to protect individuals and property associated with the assignment. Example: contain, activate, and evacuate. In addition to emergency responses, the course is going to include an overview of the basic principles of prevention and safety. And then, of course, within that, you're going to be doing your pre-reading assignments, which is key. You really want to understand what it is you're about to learn so that your comprehension level is going to be greater as you go through the lesson. There's going to be a lecture with brief discussion, case studies with analysis and group discussion, and then, of course, you're going to be documenting everything in your learning journal. Then we have the emergency response procedures. So security guards must be comfortable in responding to emergency situations, familiar with different emergency procedures, and must coordinate these procedures with organizational requirements and/or other personnel. Understanding the need for emergency response procedures and following the emergency response plan for a given site is vital to the security guard's role. The course is going to provide instruction on the following: the different emergency response procedures, example, first aid and CPR, common tools associated with response procedures, a fire extinguisher, sprinkler systems, determining the safest and most appropriate response to a threat, how to preserve evidence, proper evaluation protocol and knowledge of access routes, how to control access for emergency services and provide necessary details, and site-specific building occupant capacity limits, Ontario Fire Code, and building-specific regulations with respect to occupancy. And then, of course, we're going to go through the pre-reading assignment, the lecture, conduct emergency response activities, case studies with analysis and group discussion, and then putting everything in your learning journal. Then we're going to talk about the potential roles of a security guard during an emergency. So security guards may be required to fulfill different roles during an emergency situation. They may have to assist other personnel, including police, fire, and ambulance, or take the lead in responding to the emergency. Security guards must be able to work alongside other personnel and quickly and accurately understand their role in any given situation. They must recognize when an emergency is beyond the scope of their job specifications and requires additional assistance. The course is going to provide an overview of the relationships in the security industry, including a matrix with job titles, descriptions, responsibilities, and the link between them to help security guards understand when a situation is beyond their scope and who to contact in specific emergency situations. So again, you're going to go through that pre-reading, the lecture with brief discussion, group discussion in emergency situations involving different emergency responses, and then, of course, using your journal. Then we have duty of care. Security guards need to be familiar with the concept of duty of care generally, what a reasonable person should do in a particular situation, and how this duty might impact them during in securing a crime scene. They also need to be familiar with how to properly secure and protect a crime scene until the appropriate personnel arrives. And then, of course, we're going to have a quiz, based on this material that you've just learned. So there you have it. There is the Section 6 emergency response preparation of the Ontario Security Guard course syllabus breakdown. Thank you for watching.